Join Kids Hut family.
Tofu, can you take the floor, please? I will climb up the ladder and do the shelves at the top.
Why do I have to do the floor?
Because the shells are higher and tougher to clean.
You are just saying that because you don't want to do the floors.
Oh boy, Tofu, it's not that. You won't be able to reach the shelves, trust me.
Sure, I will be.
Okay, come on up then. But let me tell you, you're being like the crab.
Like the crab? Now what's that?
Come, I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, there lived a crab in the sea.
I am so bored of living in the sea. I think the meadow behind the beach is a better place for me to be. I will move there.
And so, the crab came out of the water and made its way beyond the beach and into the meadow.
Ah, this is the life. I wonder why I didn't do this earlier.
Unknown to the crab, a fox had been watching him since the moment he came into the meadow. And one day, when he found the right moment, he attacked him.
I have been waiting for this moment. I will eat you now.
The crab tried to hide, but it didn't know how to. Not on land anyway. He was not familiar with the terrain at all.
It's my fault. I should have stayed in the seas and the beach where I belong and know how to protect myself.
Well, yes, but now it's too late for you.
Saying so, the fox quickly ate the crab and ended his life. Do you still think you can handle the tall shelves?
I think I will wait till next year to find out. For now, I will just take care of the floors.
Tofu, I think you should help the poor dog.
Why, Tia?
Wait, I'll explain this to you through a story. The Lion and the Mouse. One day, a lion was sleeping in his den. A mouse was also playing nearby. Little Mouse began running up and down upon him. This soon wakened the lion. Angry at the little mouse, the lion caught the mouse and said,
You little mouse, how dare you wake me? I will kill you.
The mouse was frightened and prayed to the lion.
Pardon, O king. Please do not kill me. I am a little creature. Please let me go, and I will do you a good return one day for sparing my life.
The lion was rather amused to hear this, thinking, What good can he do to me? But let him go. A few days after, the lion was walking in a jungle. He found himself caught in a hunter's net. He roared and rolled to get out of the net, but he failed. The lion was pleading for help.
Help me, help me.
The mouse, whose life was saved by the lion, heard the roar and ran to the lion and said,
Don't worry, my friend. I will save you.
The mouse gathered all his friends and told them,
We all have to help my friend and set him free.
The mouse and his friends cut through the net and set the lion free. The lion escaped and thanked the mouse. And from that day, they became the best of friends. Like the little mouse and lion had become friends and in the end helped each other, you should help this dog too. Because a friend in need is a friend indeed.
Tia, you recite so many stories to me that are full of morals, but you have never recited your favorite story to me. Which one is it?
Tofu, that's true. I haven't yet recited my favorite story to you. Would you want to listen to one of my favorite stories?
Yeah.
Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there lived a widow with her only son, named Jack. Their times were really hard, and they were living in poverty for long. Jack was too young to work and earn money. All their house furniture and other belongings were sold off to carry on with their basic daily needs. Until at last they were left with a cow, who used to give milk every day, and that they used to sell off in the market to buy bread. One day, the poor old cow didn't give any milk. That's when Jack suggested his mother,
I think we should sell off this cow and get a good return in bargain.
So Jack left to sell off the cow in the market. On the way, he met a butcher.
Oh, where are you going, Jack?
I'm going to the market to sell off this cow for a good bargain.
Oh, why take the trouble to go that far? I have a very good deal for you.
He took out 5 strange-looking beans from his pocket and handed them to Jack. Jack looked little hazed as to what kind of good bargain it is.
Oh my God! They are so beautiful. What do you call these?
Beans, magical beans. If you plant them overnight, by the next morning, they will grow up and reach the sky.
Wow! Mother would be so happy to see them. Thank you, Mr. Butcher.
And off went Jack happily to his mother and showed her the magical beans. But to his disappointment, she only got angry at him and shouted,
off you go to bed right away.
She threw the beans outside the kitchen window and into the backyard and went off to her bed, crying and weeping. The next morning, when Jack woke up, he saw outside his window, and to his surprise, he saw a great beanstalk reaching up to the sky.
Oh my God! This beanstalk is so huge! I need to climb this up to see where it leads to.
He climbed up and up and up till his home looked a mere spot on the ground. At last, the stalk ended and Jack found himself in a completely different place. But suddenly, a beautiful lady appeared and said,
Hello, Jack. You don't know me, but I know you and everything about you. The castle you see there belongs to a giant who stole all your father's money and killed him. Your mother had kept this secret from you to protect you. He owes you, Jack.
The lady disappeared in thin air. Jack kept standing there and thinking,
He surely owes me and my family.
Far away, where the road ended, he could see a huge castle. He went up to the castle and knocked on the huge door. A giant woman opened the door. She looked scary and howled at Jack.
What do you want?
If you please, ma'am, would you kindly give me some breakfast? I haven't eaten anything since yesterday.
The giant woman, though looked cruel and ugly, had a kind heart and offered Jack a huge plate of English breakfast, but warned him.
You must finish quickly before my giant husband comes back and eats you.
Then suddenly there was a huge knock on the door, and the wife picked up Jack and hid him in a huge empty kettle. As the door opened, the giant entered and roared.
Fee, fee, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread.
Nonsense! You're mistaken. It's the ox hide you smell.
So he sat down at the table and ate the ox that his wife had served him as breakfast. After he finished, he asked his wife,
Get me my money bags.
He started counting his money, but he was so sleepy that he slept on the table. The whole room was roaring with his snore. Jack, taking an opportunity of this time, got out of the kettle, picked up the money bags and ran towards the door. Before the giant woke up, he climbed down the beanstalk and to his cottage and did not look back even once. He took a sigh of relief and ran to his mother.
Mother, look what I got. We are rich now.
The mother and the son lived quite comfortably. Till one afternoon, when his mother was away, he decided to go up to the giant's castle and see what was happening there. So he climbed up the beanstalk and reached the castle. There, standing at the door, he saw the giant's wife again. But she didn't recognize him because he was dressed impeccably this time.
If you please, ma'am,
He said,
will you give me some breakfast?
Run away, you little boy. Last time a boy came, he stole my husband's money bags.
But since she was kind-hearted, she offered Jack breakfast. At that very moment, the giant knocked on the door and quickly she hid Jack in the oven. The giant entered and roared.
Fee, fee, fo, fum! I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread.
But the giant's wife once again assured him that he is mistaken and offered him his huge breakfast to eat. After eating his food, he asked his wife,
Get me my golden hen.
The wife got the hen and the giant roared in his voice.
Lay!
That very moment, the hen laid a golden egg, and Jack was left amazed with what he saw. No sooner he saw the giant slipping into his deep sleep, and once again he came out of the oven, picked up the hen, and ran for the door. In the meanwhile, the hen began to cackle. The voice made the giant move a little, but he kept sleeping. Jack climbed down the stalk and went straight to his mother and gave her the golden hen. The mother and the boy were so rich that they had money greater than even what they could spend. One day, he was sitting idle. The thought of the beanstalk crossed his mind again, and he decided to climb it. No sooner he was at the castle, but this time he decided not to be seen and climbed the kitchen wall of the castle and hid himself in the oven. In came the giant, roaring louder than ever.
Fee, fee, fo, fum! I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread.
But the giantess was quite sure that she had seen no little boy that morning, and after grumbling a great deal, the giant sat down for breakfast. As soon as he got over with his breakfast, he called out to his wife,
Bring me my harp! Sing!
ordered the giant. Soon the harp started singing the most beautiful sounds ever heard, and no sooner the giant fell off into his deep sleep. Jack, who was waiting for this moment, got out of the oven and climbed the table to grab the harp. But as soon as he started running off with it, the harp started shouting, Master! Master! The giant woke up just in time to catch the sight of Jack running out of the kitchen door. With a fearful roar, he saw Jack running with the harp and dashed after him. Little Jack ran as fast as he could, while holding the harp tightly in his hands. The giant, taking terribly long strides, gained on Jack, and he would have been caught if Giant had not slipped over a boulder. Before he could pick himself up, Jack began to climb down the beanstalk, and when the giant arrived at the edge, he was nearly halfway to the cottage. The giant began to climb down too, but as soon as Jack saw him coming, he called out,
Mother, bring an axe.
The widow hurried out with the chopper. Jack had no sooner reached the ground than he cut the beanstalk right in two. Down came the giant with a terrible crash, and that, you may be sure, was the end of him. But the mother had a very important advice for Jack.
Jack, what the giant did to your father was bad, but you should not have been so greedy. He reaped what he sowed, but greed is also a bad deed.
Jack agreed to his mother and promised to never be greedy again, and they lived happily ever after.
Wow, Tia, that was such an adventurous story.
Yeah, Tofu, and do you know why it was my favorite story?
No? Tell me?
The story was about a brave boy who wanted to fight against poverty, and in a way, he got a chance to take revenge of his father too. But in the process, he forgot that harming the giant again and again was not ethical, and stealing from the giant's house was also against his morals.
Oh, that's quite a heavy thought for my little brain.
Ha ha ha! Let's go. We are late for dinner. Mom must be waiting.
Hey, Tia.
Yes, Tofu.
My teacher wrote a report that I need to get signed by Mom.
What? Why?
She said that I didn't do things as asked.
Oh, why is that?
I just thought she's giving instructions just like that. I didn't think there was any meaning to her instructions.
That's not a good thing, Tofu.
Yes. But why does she give so many instructions? And why do I have to follow them always?
I think you should follow your teacher's instructions, otherwise you will experience something similar to Peter Rabbit.
Why? What did he experience?
Peter Rabbit. Once upon a time, there lived a rabbit called Peter Rabbit. He lived with his mother and brothers, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail. One day, their mother told them that she was going out for some work.
Children, I have to go finish some errands. Till then, you can go and play in the lane. Just be careful that you do not go to MacGregor's garden at all. You all remember that your father had an accident there, don't you? Mrs. MacGregor had put him in the pie.
Once their mother had gone, all the brothers went down the lane to play. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were very good kids, and they followed their mother's instructions. But Peter Rabbit was a naughty one. He went to the MacGregor's garden all by himself and squeezed himself under the fence. The garden was full of delicious vegetables.
Wow! So many vegetables! I will eat them all.
And quickly, Peter Rabbit filled his stomach with lettuce, French beans, and radishes.
Oh, I think I have eaten too much. I need some parsley to help my stomach.
And so Peter went looking for parsley
deeper in McGregor's garden. He was just crossing the cucumber patch when he ran into Mr. McGregor.
Thief! Stop! Stop right there!
Mr. McGregor ran after Peter, trying to catch him. The moment Peter saw him coming, he took off.
Oh no! I must run. If I get to the shed, I should be okay.
Peter quickly dashed into the tool shed and dived into a can. The can was filled with water, but Peter had no choice. Mr. McGregor had followed him into the shed.
Where did that rabbit go?
Mr. McGregor couldn't find Peter anywhere, and so he decided to check outside the shed. As soon as he turned away, Peter got out of the can and dashed out. But Mr. McGregor spotted him.
There, that thief! After him! I won't let him go this time!
Somehow, Peter managed to get away. He caught his breath and sat down under the blueberry bush. Just then he heard someone talking to him.
Are you okay? Can you help me find the way out of here?
The mouse showed Peter the way out of the garden. Peter quickly got out of the garden and headed home.
Oh, Peter! Good you're home. What took you so long? Nothing, Mom. I am just very tired. I think I will sleep.
The mother was very surprised. She let Peter go to sleep early. At supper time, she made the children's favorite dinner. And served them the carrot pie that she had got for them from the market. But Peter Rabbit was so tired that he slept through the entire dinner and missed his favorite meal.
Oh no! I don't think I ever want to experience anything like that. I will think twice before not following any instructions from my elders.
That's awesome, Tofu. Come on now. We'll get you some carrot pie and then you can get the report signed by Mom.
Yes, let's go, Tia. Tia, today Jim and I had a fight.
Oh, that's bad. What happened? I thought Jim is your friend.
He was, but today he did not support me on the poster competition concept I wanted to present to my teacher. He thought that it might be too easy. He is my friend. He should have agreed with me instead of behaving like Tom and Ben, who are always mean.
Was he right? Yes, he was. The idea was too easy, but still, he should have agreed with what I was saying.
Oh, Emperor Tofu, that is very bad.
Why are you calling me Emperor?
Because you are behaving like this emperor from my story. Once upon a time, there lived an emperor. He was not particularly smart or intelligent, but because he was the emperor, people feared him and always agreed with whatever he said. They used flattery to avoid his wrath and win his trust.
Your Majesty, as always, you are right.
Your Majesty, you have made the wisest decision possible.
Because the emperor was so foolish, he never understood the difference between an honest compliment and flattery. He thought that his public loved him and that he was the best. He lived in his ego and vanity. One day, his head minister, who was truly a wise man, disagreed with him in open court.
Your Majesty, it is my humble suggestion that you hear the public's troubles before increasing the tax burden further. Doing so will make you a more beloved king.
What are you saying, Head Minister? Do you mean that our wise king is not good enough?
The foolish king, who was blinded by all the flattery and not used to people disagreeing with him, also agreed.
Yes, Head Minister. How dare you doubt my decision? As a punishment, I remove you from the position of Head Minister.
Disgraced by the events of the day, the head minister went home sad. When he reached home, he saw that his nephew, who was a tailor, had come to visit him from another town. Just like his uncle, the nephew was a wise man. The head minister told him what had happened in court.
Don't worry, uncle. One day, Emperor's vanity shall crash.
The next day, the nephew went to see the king. He pretended to hold a piece of garment in his hand and said to the emperor,
Your Majesty, I have just returned from my travels around the world. When I was in Old Market of Persia, I saw this beautiful piece of cloth and immediately thought of you. I have brought it with me to make a new robe for you. It is the most beautiful cloth ever made.
The emperor could not see the cloth, but his ego did not allow him to confess it. He looked at the remaining ministers and asked them what they think of the cloth. The ministers couldn't see the cloth either, but decided to lie to the emperor again.
It is very beautiful, sir.
Yes, I agree. It will look fantastic on you.
Though the king could not see the cloth, he thought that since his ministers thought that it would look very nice on him, he would go ahead and order for it.
Yes, it is beautiful indeed. Go ahead, tailor. Make the most beautiful robe that you have ever made. I will wear it for my birthday parade, which is 10 days from now.
Yes, Your Majesty. You will have it on your birthday. And so the fateful day came. It was the emperor's birthday. The tailor went to the palace early morning, pretending to hold a robe in his hand. Throughout, he behaved like he was carrying something beautiful and delicate.
Here is your robe. Since it is a delicate material, it is best not to wear anything under it.
The emperor agreed and took off his underclothes. The nephew went on to pretend as if he was helping the emperor wear the robe. Just then, the king's two favorite ministers came into his chambers. They were shocked to see the emperor stand like that without any clothes on.
How does my robe look, ministers?
You look so handsome, Your Majesty.
Majesty, you are looking very nice.
Still unable to see the robe himself, the king believed what his ministers had told him and ordered the parade to start. The whole kingdom had gathered for the emperor's birthday and had lined up on the streets to see his new robe. But just as the king appeared in public without any clothes on, the crowd fell silent. Everybody was wondering what had happened to the emperor, but no one dared to say a thing. They just stared at him as he made a complete fool of himself. Till one small child called out to his mother, "Look, Mom, the emperor is not wearing any clothes." No longer able to contain itself, the entire crowd burst into peals of laughter. They held their stomach and pointed at the emperor as they made fun of him. The emperor looked at the guilty faces of his ministers. And sad face of his head minister, who was upset to see the king being made fun of. The emperor understood how foolish he had been and what his mistake had been. He fired the two ministers and reinstated the head minister. From then on, when anyone gave him a compliment, he humbly listened to it and absorbed it only if it was genuine. With the honest guidance of his head minister, he went on to become a truly great emperor for his people.
Ouch, dear. I think I had become the egoistic emperor. I owe an apology to my friend Jim.
What do you think? Yes, and you also need to learn to accept feedback and not get carried away by compliments.
Yes, Tia, but I must wish you good night for now.
Good night, Tofu.
For your favorite rhymes, stories, and more, join Kids Hut family. Subscribe here.